Hello and welcome again to Look and Learn. In the previous edition, we pledged to take you through the differences between English and African or Nigerian languages. The essence is to bring to your attention those elements between the languages, that is, African languages and English, whose presence or absence have an effect on your English learning process. So let's go. Where English has 25 vowels, a Nigerian language might not have more than 10. What this means is that when you come across an English vowel that is not in the language you know, the tendency is for you to find the closest substitute for such a vowel from sounds in your first language. This explains why some of us pronounce the word girl as girl. Nigerian languages have no The closest substitute to is therefore jumped at for rescue, so to speak. The sound in Nigerian and other African languages is commissioned, and girl comes out as girl instead of the correct girl. This is one of the explanations of the difficulty an African or Nigerian has in learning spoken English. But it is not just vowels that are affected in this regard. The interference also happens in the realm of consonants. Let's take th and the, for instance. An African or Nigerian who's spoken English has a few issues will pronounce them as t and d, simply because those are the sounds closest to the two English sounds in their first Nigerian or African languages. That is the reason you could find a Nigerian who's learning spoken English pronouncing thing, thank, and tooth as tin, tank, and tooth instead of the correct thing, thank, and tooth. Similarly, you hear incorrect forms such as this man, the boy, and the company is undergoing teething problems. Now, this one do. The correct rendition of these segments is this man, the boy, and the company is undergoing teething problems. The importance of this explanation is to show you that the issues you have in learning English almost inevitably stem from your first language. Another telling difference between English and African languages is that where English is stress-timed, African languages, more or less, are tone-timed. This means that whereas a polysyllabic English word would have stress on it placed on one syllable, African or Nigerian language words give a tone to each of the syllables in such polysyllabic words. Please, polysyllabic words are words with two or more syllables. Back to the stress-timed and tone-timed distinction of English from Nigerian and African languages. A word such as distribute has a stress on the second syllable. That's from the English point of view. Now, ask someone who has an African or Nigerian language background to pronounce the same word. Except the individual is properly informed about English pronunciation patterns, you will hear distribute as every syllable gets its own tone mark. Don't blame them. That is how African languages work. That tone for every syllable tendency is taken wholesale into English. But surely, distribute must give way to the correct distribute. That's the proper thing to do. Finally, where English is seemingly crispy and rhythmic, African languages are level-toned and heavy. Let's have some examples. Moferi principle. That's Yoruba for I want to see the principal. Agwagom ya na mma bia hụ ya. That's Igbo for I've told him that I'll visit him. Zokacha binchi. Hausa for come and eat. Or in formal English, please join me at the table. You will notice that the tone does not rise and fall in any of the statements from those Nigerian languages. Now, let's try English. Are they always this rowdy after a fat lunch? Notice the rise and fall of the voice while we read the English sentence. If nowhere else, there is a clear rise of the tone when are they was voiced. After a fat lunch was said in a rather sober and cohesive tone. And that's the point. English sentences rise and fall. African languages display sentences that have the same level of tone from the beginning till the end. Thus a difference that shows itself in the performance of the African or Nigerian individual who learns English as a second language. All their sentences in English will have a tendency to be flat and heavy. It's interference from the first language. Well, this is where we end our backgrounding of the spoken English aspect of our course. Next time, we'll take on the sounds of English. Goodbye.